My name is Roslyn Fairley. It's time for the big interview. I'm talking about a gentleman who has won so many awards. He's winning hearts for Christ through his voice and his music. The words or the lyrics of his music is actually very, very touching. And when I talk about this, I'm talking about the lyrics that will get you crying and wondering why you haven't drawn close to God yet. His name is Joe Mettle. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Rosalie.
How are you?
I'm well, yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm loving your outfit.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thanks to Way from Poma. She made sure that I had this easy wear.
It's nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so Joe Mettle, the man Joe Mettle. Now, I was asking you, or we were talking about it earlier, and I was like, what haven't you even said? I think everybody knows who Joe Mettle is. We know where you started from. But tell us about your family, talking about your mother, father, how many siblings you had?
My mother. I have a mother.
Yes, you do. Everybody
so
has
when you say tell us about, okay, my mom, Florence. My mom is Florence. My dad is Emmanuel. Obviously, Emmanuel Mettle. Florence, I think maiden name Ado. And I'm the eldest of 6. We are 3. No, yeah, we are 3 boys and 3 girls.
Okay.
No, I know that's. The reason I had to think about it is because most of my siblings, like, we're all over the place.
Okay.
I have siblings on one side and siblings on the other. So my dad has children, my mom has children, and between the two of them, I'm the only child.
All right.
So all my siblings are step. That's why I had to put. I know the number, but then I had to, for a second, calculate the genders. So that's it. Yeah.
Talking about that, how did you feel like growing up with steps?
It was fine though. You know that thing where it's not necessarily stated as step. You know, this is my brother, this is my sister. And so you don't discriminate by saying, you're my step brother, you're my step, no. But also, I grew more with my mom than I did my dad. I mean, I lived with my dad a few times, but my mom moved around a lot. So when she moved, we moved, you know. So I think I stayed more with my mom and my mom's children more than I did my dad's children. Yeah.
Okay. So you're closer to that side than this side.
But we're still cool. Like we're still there.
Joe Mettle, of course, growing up, everybody had dreams, aspirations, and I don't know if yours was to go into music, and if music was it going to be gospel?
Mine was more. I wanted to be actually an architect. I wanted to be an architect, not a musician. But I know that at the back of my mind, I always knew that I would sing or do music, you know, for some reason. But I knew that I was also going to still practice the architecture. And so I actually started. I used to do building drawing. I did that for a few years.
So you're a good, artist.
No. So building drawing. So,
yeah. Okay. So you're good in building drawing. Yeah. So you can imagine it and then you put it down there.
Yeah, so you plan it depending on the size of land, space, the kind of like design you intend to work with, how many rooms, all those things. Like, so basic architecture. So I went to modern school to learn that for a while, thinking I was going to go to probably tech or any other institution to further it, and it didn't happen. I started singing later on. When I got to go to the university, I rather went to study marketing.
It all changed.
It changed.
How come? Was it the course?
No.
What was it?
It was what I realized architecture required or demanded from me, you know, which was time. A lot of it. You know, it wasn't one of those kind of like fields where you can do and be doing other. No, you needed to focus on it. And it wasn't helping. I knew that I was spending most of my time doing ministry. And so I wanted to do something else that I love to do where it will not affect the ministry. And so I decided to go study marketing. Everybody
growing up is adventurous. Were you adventurous?
It's relative, like adventurous.
Adventurous, you know, where, you know, as a teenager.
Oh, yeah. I grew up where I always say that thing. I'm never... Like, I'm proud of where I come from, you know, and where I come from is a hard town. So you had to survive. You had to be adventurous. If not, you would drown, you know. So you move around and do everything else everybody else does. But
which is?
I mean, explore.
Did you club? Did you party? Did you get girls?
Funny enough, I didn't party. I don't know what. So this is the thing. Someone one time was teasing me about dancing and all those things, and part of the reason is because I really didn't party. I didn't get to do that. I worked more with my mom, so it was more work and school for me. And my mom always had this thing where there was always like this strict kind of like mother warning every time.
What was your mom doing that you were working with?
My mom was a trader, so I used to sell with her. So whatever she sold, I
what was she selling?
She sold many things. I mean, we started with, I always say that, we started with the wache leaves, like the leaves. That's what we started with. So they used to bring it from Takoradi in bulk, in nets and things, and then we take them out bits by bits and then roll them and then sell to the food sellers. So that's what we used to sell. And then at a point they introduced the packs and the rubbers, so that business went out of the system, and then we decided to sell something else. So I think we started doing brooms, canes, kerosene, all those things. At a point that too wasn't working properly, and then we started doing food, like cooked food. So we started selling wache, rice, so those kind of business. So I did everything I could get my hands on. So I've always been marketing stuff since I was young. So
you're a very good cook?
I try.
But you can
I
sell
don't come
the
and sit
food.
on TV and say, me, I can't. But I have stuff that I can really cook anyway.
Like what?
I can cook.
Okay.
It's just, I'm lazy when it comes to cooking. But I can cook. You know that thing where they say, today you go to the kitchen. That thing, if I have to, I can do it.
Right, so you never clubbed?
No. It was one of the things I don't think I did. Yeah, I don't. There was one time. It wasn't clubbing. It was, I think you know that thing where they say, I remember very well, it was years ago. And then the boys went to, that time it was called, it's clubbing, no. They used to call it some name, it wasn't clubbing. That time, because it was a bit
Is it jams?
I can't even remember.
Okay.
So I went there with them, and I was like, what is happening here? Like everything was, like it was noisy, people were just, in fact, we were there for a while till I went back home, and then when I got home, I just slept. When I slept for a very long time. Like somebody had beaten me. I was like, this is what you people do. I can't do this one.
And you didn't try alcohol when you went for
there are things I always say in my life that it will be difficult for you to get me to do. Like alcohol is not one of them. I mean, I don't drink. I have never drank since.
Never tasted alcohol?
No, I know how it tastes like. I mean, you know that thing where it's been in my mouth before, but I have never really taken alcohol before. Even that was more like a trap thing.
I was going to ask you, how did you get into your mouth?
So we had this community cleaning thing. And then, you know, area boys, it was like, you think you are better than us, you know, those kind of things. So I bought pie, and then one of the guys was like, oh, I have Coke, though. And so me too, I had meant that guy, so I wanted to pour like a lot of the Coke. So when I poured it, then I realized that it was actually appetizer in the can.
It was bitter.
My whole mouth was sore. Like, my whole mouth was sore that day. Like, because this was proper pure. So...
But how did you know the difference between Apio and just normal alcohol?
The fact that I don't drink doesn't know I wouldn't know. Apio is Apio. I lived in the village.
I've never tasted Apio, so I wouldn't know what the difference between Apio and other alcohol.
When you smell it, you'd realize that Apio is not something people should be drinking. It's harsh. The thing is, okay, alcohol is alcohol. The fact that I don't drink doesn't mean when I smell, I don't know what this is. The smell there, I know what they are, but I don't drink.
Okay.
Did you get it? I don't. And it's not because of faith or anything. It's just principle. I don't think it's something I want to do. The reason is I've seen people in my life that have been destroyed by this. I grew up around places where many people were literally destroyed by alcohol and stuff. So it was just whilst growing up, I decided that this is not one of those things I ever want to do. You know, that was it. So even before I became like a Christian and all those things, it had nothing to do with that. Yeah.
If you say before Christian, being a Christian.
No, I'm just telling you, I don't drink, not because I'm a Christian.
Okay.
But I just don't drink.
Did gospel music find you, or you found gospel music?
I would say it found me. growing up, I've always been told, oh, you have a gift over your life. In fact, my mom had one time told me there were many prophecies about my life and God was going to use me. And I was like, boss, if you want me to be a good boy, say you want me to be a good boy. All this trying to,
massage it all.
Tell me like I have to be serious with my life. But after a while, and so when music started, it had nothing to do with ministry for me. It was just work, because then I used to be a drummer. So we go to the churches, we play, you pay us, we go. I wasn't even serious about God or anything until I had my encounters where I realized that God had put in me more than I was offering and more than I was working in. And so I started paying attention to the gifts, waited on the gifts, trusted God to reveal more to me what he intended for me to do. And when I paid attention, everything started panning out.
When you say that, you had an encounter, you recollect that encounter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, it started with a service I had been to, and then the preacher came and said, I was playing. So he prophesied to me and says, like, God is going to use you. I'm like, but I'm already playing the drama now. He said, no, God really is going to use you to touch the world, to be a blessing to the world. I was like, okay, cool. And he says, because you do not believe it or you're doubting it in your heart. And then he prayed and says, I've never said this. He says, I pray he would reveal it to you. So it started with dreams. It started with certain revelations of, sometimes obviously I go to church, so I pray. And so I started seeing things. So it started.
What were you seeing in your dream?
So it was like sometimes you see yourself standing in a place ministering to people. It wasn't even just singing, but like there were people gathered and God was just speaking through you to them. And I was like, what is this? But because I didn't also understand, it pushed me to seek God more, to understand what he intended for me to. And so I didn't immediately move into the calling. I waited, trusted God, spoke, prayed, spoke to people who have gone ahead of me to understand what really was happening to me. Because at the point it was a lot. And so after a while, when I started understanding my mandate, I then decided to go on and serve people who were already in it, to understand what it entailed. And then the rest, they say, is history.
How long did it take you to wait?
Oh, I think I waited for probably a year and a half. So I wasn't doing anything. I think I wasn't playing drum anymore. I just, over time, started following a few of my friends who were already in the ministry to learn more, to understand more, because I wasn't in a hurry to just step into it. Many times with others.
How did the transition of being a drummer to becoming a musician happen?
I think, so, I joined a church. I followed some of the guys to a church, and I was already singing small, But when we went to that church, I realized that the guy who played drum there was really good. He was better than me. But rather, they didn't have like worship leaders, a lot of them. So I decided rather to join the worship team. So when I joined the worship team, I sang more there. And I remember I went back to my old church, and one time I was just telling them, oh, I can actually lead worship if they don't mind. It was a Kotanasi or like what? When the drummers are talking, you can talk. This is why it's not your area. They didn't even believe me. I just didn't believe me for a while. Until one time I think someone who was supposed to lead who was late. And then I said, if you guys don't mind, I can lead worship for today. And I got a warning. Like, if you don't know, you missed the service. So I think after that day, they were like, oh, when? Sit. And then same thing. The rest they say is history.
And then you are Joe Mettle today.
By God's grace.
We thank God. Now, another thing that people always talk about, when you came into the limelight, you were single for a very long time, and people were questioning you.
I would be so surprised if you decide to talk about this.
People questioned you,
Okay.
were you under pressure to marry?
Oh, no. I have never been under pressure to marry. No, because that thing they say, I'm the one going to stay in the house with the woman. Not them, oh. So if you allow anybody to pressure you to do something you're not ready for, because you see, I had my vision. I had things I was working on. Many times people would say, "Okay, you have to marry. You have this." And I had stuff. I had a lot.
Tell us what shocked you.
No. I had.
What you had that shocked you the most.
There's this. He's like a father of mine, so he teases a lot. So he says, when a grandma say, about, do you understand what that means?
Yeah.
You're
too ding, yeah.
Exactly. But when he says you're too ding, he's trying to say something. Do you understand what that statement means?
Explain it to us.
They'll start like tagging you with other things like, why are you not? Is it because you don't like girls? Or you know, that kind of thing. And I was like, oh no, it has nothing to do with that. I had plans. Obviously, you can't get the whole world before you decide to settle. But I'm like, bro, my background, I needed to make sure purpose is aligned. There's something working. There's consistency in my life in terms of earnings, in terms of a place to take that person's daughter. I can't just be moving, you know. So there were plans I had, and I was trusting God for them. It was not ready yet. So I was like, no. And also, there were things I wanted to do, you know. Back in the day, I did ministry in ways that if I was married, there was no way I could have done it.
Like what? How did you
Moving
do it?
around a lot.
Okay.
I did a lot of travel.
Now, you're a fine boy, of course. You can't take it away from yourself that you're a fine boy. And how was the temptation? Like, the girls were always putting in the applications, weren't they?
Oh, no. The girls won't put in application. Why would they do that? And you know, women don't put in applications. We are the men, we rather speak
with all the gifts. I mean, the girls are, what? So are you saying that the girls don't?
Oh, no. See, obviously I dated.
Okay.
I dated, you know, once or twice. I definitely dated. So, but it just didn't work out around that time too. And it was also those things where sometimes it's like, oh, I do understand. I know this is how the thing is. Oh, I'm fine. And then it's now a date, and then the person realizes, hey, I can't live this life, you know. And it's not sometimes as easy as from afar people see it to be. You would sometimes be hardly there. You would always be on the road. It's there. Sometimes you'll be so busy you can't be talking, and all. There are a lot of things that comes, and you know you're a woman, so you understand. Sometimes you want to talk, and around that time I can't talk. And when it happens too many times, then if the person too is the kind that requires attention a lot, then it becomes a problem. But I'm also saying that to say, over time, I grew and also matured enough to understand that I also have to make a conscious effort to make time. Because the earlier stages, like my face was always, let's go, you know. But now I understand it better. And that's what I meant by, imagine if I had rushed it that time, I still didn't understand enough of what having to consciously make time for relationship and family and all those things like I do now.
I like that you said like you do now.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you dated, it didn't work, but what made this one work? What made her stand out of the ladies?
So when I was growing up, I was maturing. So
what about her?
What about her?
That made you decide to marry her?
My wife.
Your wife, I mean.
My wife. Baby. I don't know. I think it was time. It was just time. And it was her. You know, it was time and it was her.
What about her?
What about her?
Yes.
It's a story for another day.
No.
No, I'll tell you one day. No. You won't have enough time. I need at least minimum 2 to 3 hours to give you.
We'll give you 5 hours. Let's go.
Yeah, you don't have that.
Let's go.
What time do you have to do 9
Don't
something?
worry.
No. I think it was more of like meeting the person, realizing, you know, when in your heart you have the what do they say? You have the prompting that this is the person. I mean, even for me, I ignored for a while. I was dodging. Like when I see it, then I'll go, I'm like, who cries? This lady cry, that's bothering me. You know?
Oh, so she was bothering you?
No, she wasn't. I had not even spoken to her before.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, you know that thing, it kept coming. I would dodge, then it would come.
Wait. Let us understand.
You want to understand?
What was coming? Was it vision?
No.
Were you dreaming about her?
That is, I saw the person.
Okay.
I felt in my spirit that this was the person.
Right.
Do you understand? But because I also didn't know who she was, I kept ignoring. Because I don't know her. I had never met her. I'd never,
So where did you see her?
I saw her online. It started with online. And then later on I realized that, I see her also at some of my events as well, But we never spoke. It took
But you always spotted her at your event?
No. It was after I had seen her that I realized.
Okay.
So I think it was those things. I was watching an old video, then I realized that the person, it passed. Then I was like, is it not the same person? Then I put it together. But I'll tell you the details.
So how did you finally?
Finally, that's what I meant by, if I just said, God, if this is you, like, something should happen.
So how did it happen? How did God do it?
We finally got to talk, and then, yeah. I have my reason for saying I'll give you the full story another time. One time, don't worry, one of these days I'll come for an interview. It will just be that story. But
this is the big interview.
A way came out where we spoke. We said, we spoke for a while. And
did you reach out to her in her inbox, or did somebody introduce her to you?
The social media thing has helped. I think I was it? Who even reached out first? No, I think she reached out first.
Okay.
And this is when I had said that I had seen the person. In my spirit, I thought it was the person. We've never met, we've never spoken. So she doesn't even know I know her or anything. And then she just said, I think there was one of the events she came to, and then after the event, she just said, God bless you. That was it. I was like, AFA.
Afa.
And then, that was it.
So you shot your shot right there?
Oh, no.
Oh, but you took her number, right?
No. I still didn't. That's what I meant by, it's a long
So how long did you date?
Dating probably was for like maybe a year, but we spoke for a while, just like talking. And I think around that time, she even thought I was dating. It was also, I made sure that, all those things won't come up. I was even about to get married, all those things. So she had no idea that I even liked her.
Right.
No idea.
And that was how many years of talking?
For a while, before finally everything settled.
So like 3 years of talking?
That's what I mean. I won't be able to, let me see, no. Because I didn't prep for this conversation.
You didn't have to prep.
Think about the time.
When you got here, what did I tell you?
But not this one. I told you that.
I told you
have you ever heard me talk about this before?
This is the big interview.
But because also part of it is some of these convos, you have to make sure that the woman too is aware that you are putting her stuff out there.
Oh, we're not putting her stuff out. We are talking about how Joe and
details.
Mrs. Joe met.
It's not you, so you are, if it was you. So some of the details, you have to make sure, if I talk about this, you are cool, all those things.
But talking for about 3 years, there's nothing wrong with telling us.
Oh, no, we spoke for a while. I don't think 3 years. It wasn't 3 years. But it was those things when you knew. So when it was time, you just said, do you want to do this? Let's do it. And then we just did it. And
that's how it was?
Yeah.
So I just want to marry you. And she said, okay.
Yeah. It was not too long, stretchy, anything beyond like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I think for me too, I was like, COVID. Most of my people are in Abrochile. COVID, too many people can't come up. So I'll be able to control the number. That was the biggest deception of my life. Thinking that COVID so I can control numbers. When I raised my head and I saw the people outside, I said, right there.
Oh, you forgot you were Joe Mettle?
No, I didn't. But I was thinking because it was COVID, people won't come out like the usual way. So we said, we want to do this small number. The people outside, hey, Radhi.
We saw videos and pictures of your wedding. It was very, very beautiful. Now, when people get married, sometimes they have, people coming out to say all sorts of things, negative things. Did you go through that?
Are you asking me, or you are trying to remind yourself? Obviously, it was online. It was everywhere. Everyone who they say is in the limelight sometimes goes through it. I did like everyone else. Everyone saying what they would say. This one say, the girl is this. This one say she's pregnant. There was even one lady on one of the stations, and she came up. She said, she's pregnant. The reason she has her sources. they say that the reason why I married the girl is because the girl is pregnant, and the parent says if I don't marry her, something. And so even the person in the studio with her says it's alleged. She said, no. She knows where her, so, hey, she says on TJ. You know, I mean, we almost, for the very first time, I almost like took action, but I was like, you know what, it's not necessary. So we had to speak to her. Unfortunately, where she worked, I know the owner of the station, and it was going to be long. So, because I'm like, how can you have confidence to destroy somebody's family like that? I was like, listen, I happen to be in this, so I do understand. So even when you talk about me and stuff, I really don't. Does your wife get affected when she hears these things? No, not that. But it was, around that time, it was new to her. She had just gotten married. So it was a lot, you know. She's fine though. I mean, my wife took my cue, you know. And my favorite saying would be, "Ombe, fine." And she started saying it to people, you know. So at a point, she understood how this thing works and ignored it. So my point was, after a while, I was like, sister, because who knows who was sources, who knows who, and then they came up with another story. I'm like, you know what? Ombe, okay. Okay. Some are okay. But it did affect you a bit, right? Me, oh no. Not at all. No. But if it didn't affect you, then why were you going to reply? No. I was. You know that thing where they say, for the first time, I was trying to defend my wife, which normally, if it was me, I would have ignored. But I was like, no, you can't do this. And I thought that it was going too far, you know. And like my point was, there's a reason why. Even sometimes people sit online and will say it was alleged or all those kind of things. But when you have that level of confidence to destroy somebody's family like that, it was fine. So she was just supposed to come to the court, bring the proof of the pregnancy, do all those things. After it's not a year. And then maybe I would have gotten some nice cash from her, you know, some defamation of something like that. But you didn't do it. But and actually, we solved it. It was one of those things. That's good. And then the baby girl came. Girl dad. Yo! Were you there when baby was being born? Did you collapse? Oh no. Okay. No, I was there the whole time. I mean, I was there throughout the whole pregnancy to the childbirth and everything. I was there throughout the whole labor time. I was there. How did you feel seeing your baby come out? It was a joyful moment. It was a joyful moment, both for the fact that the baby's out and the fact that the mother is like also relieved and all that. You know, the pushing and how did you feel when she was going through labor? It's difficult. It's difficult. You feel her pain. Like you literally feel her pain when you know. No, how did Joe feel? No, that's what I mean. It's difficult to actually even be there and be looking, you know, because it's a lot. It's a lot. And can this thing just finish so that this woman can be free? You know, you are praying for her, you are encouraging her, all those things. And it was a lot. But thankfully, God came through for us and the baby was born. And now, being a girl dad, how does it feel like? You know how they say girls are more attached to their fathers and things. So once you come home, and my girl has energy. Like that girl, too much energy. Like today, she woke up like 4 times or something. So me having to be here was, and when she wakes up and she wants to play, everybody needs to wake up. So sometimes when you want to even sleep, she'll take some of the sleep away from you. But it's still a nice feeling knowing that even after all that, you still can't always wait to get back to her and all that. So it's nice. Have you made any changes after becoming a daddy? What kind of changes? Some people make changes. I've seen people cut their hair, people change their look, people I always cut my hair, so it doesn't matter. No, people with like braids. Cut their hair. I don't have braids. Some people decide to be, stay at home more with their children. I don't know about Joe. Okay, so for me, because I travel a lot, I always try as much as possible that any chance I get to stay home, I do. So that when I have to go, I can balance. Because I move around a lot. Wow. So So like, let's say I have, what's the word? I have like a shoot later today around say 2, but right after the interview, I'll go home again, just spend a few hours and then come back again to town. Sort of like what I spoke about from the beginning, that you intentionally making time. It's very important. So you try as much as possible before, because in March, like I leave in March, I'll be back like end of April.
Oh, wow.
And I'll go again in June, I'll be back in, so it will be like that time, and it's always like that, so.
And your wife understands. Does your wife sing too?
My wife sings, actually, but...
Are we going to have a collaboration between the two
I'm sure one day. I'm sure one day.
Okay.
I'm sure one day. But great. For now, she's taking care of this thing.
Baby number 2 on the way?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. Because you said taking care of this thing, so...
Oh, no. The baby, I mean.
You know what?
I don't have a nanny. I don't do nannies, so...
Why?
For now, I don't... it's the first. There has to be the bonding and all that. I think... And this is my personal view. I mean, sometimes I feel like the sharing of the nannies take a bit away from the bonding time. The child gets to a certain age, it's fine. But then in the beginning, I feel like there has to be the bond. And also there are grandparents, so sometimes they can cover it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a picture on there, you know, I think it was circulating, people want to know.
You see, one time I was trying to say, I don't know who this lady is. I don't know this woman. I don't know this one. She's pretty though. The young girl is pretty, but nah, that's not my daughter.
Okay.
I mean, you've never seen.
I think
nobody has ever seen my daughter.
Yeah, they just want to see your daughter.
Yeah, it's those things where people come up with stories but you see, this is one of the things I remember I said that time. I said, you see, if the media keeps doing that over time, people will start questioning the credibility of their stories. And unfortunately, people don't stop. They keep coming up with, if you want something, I always say, ask the person. If they want to share that story, they will. If not, I feel like the privacy should be respected a little bit, you know. But the fact that you don't have the story and you have to cook up something and come and, oh, Charlie.
Would you ever put your child's picture out on social media?
I won't say yes and I won't say no. But for now, I don't think it's cool. There's enough pressure on the fact that she's my daughter to put her there again, to put that kind of pressure on her, and maybe I'll never say never, but I don't think right now it's something I want to. Yeah. How
many children do you wish to have?
Hey, how many children? I don't know. Maybe 2.
Okay.
2, max 3, I think.
Max 3, okay. Yeah, now let's come to your music then. A little relief now.
I don't know, anything is fine.
Okay, now your music, somebody asked me, how did you do it? How has he stayed consistent? You know, how has he been funded all this while?
I think funding need a hand for power. I think it's been God. And please don't say it's a cliche. I'm really serious when I say it's been God. Over the years, I've seen God order my steps in ways that, even for me, many times it blows my mind. And all these years, my dependence on what to do, where to go, what not to do, what to release, what not to release, and being confident of the fact that it was an instruction given me and I worked with it, has been a great blessing. You know, so many times I want to do something and I pray about it and God says, hold on. And I'm like, the season is ripe, and he says no. Sometimes it's a song. I'm told to hold back, and I hold back until I have a full release in my spirit to let it go. And I do, and it has always worked.
Right.
You know, and so over the years, I would say God has been my helper. I say that to say, even though there's been people who have come to my aid and everything, many times, sometimes when they can say, I sense them, I can say, me tiff, I say, me drum it, because it's a lot of work, to sleepless nights, trusting God for direction, knowing what to do, writing processes, studio sessions, having to promote, trying to find people who would understand what you do to push it in that direction. It can be a lot. But I can also not, I I couldn't have done all this also without the team that God also gave me. Because I have like an amazing team of people, from the musicians to the main ministry pillar that supports me. I mean, I have, on top of my head, my team should be close to about 60.
Oh,
People
wow.
don't know, but like I have a lot of people behind the scenes who keep things running, from the events to everything. So like we have a concert in June. They've already started like ground preps already. Venues have been secured. They'll be having meetings upon meetings, putting things together, making calls, trying to get, so sometimes sponsorship, sometimes it will come, sometimes it won't come. Many times it doesn't come.
Your sponsorship doesn't come?
Oh, sometimes it doesn't come.
Your Mettle?
You don't know what's going on. Study carefully. There are times that you see a lot of media sponsors, but the rest. So with that in mind, but this is the thing. I have come to the point also where I realize that even first of all, I believe that whatever God puts in my hand, I'm just a steward of it. So if I get also the release to put the same resources He's giving me back into what He's asking me to do, I never hold back. So there's been times where I've had to fully fund like hundreds of thousands of events, like in terms of cost. When we decided to do the tour last year, we didn't have a sponsor.
So you did it yourself?
And we did a 4-regional tour till maybe the last minutes. You got a few people coming through to help with some of but most of the cost, we had to fund it by ourselves as a ministry. So fortunately, around that time, that's what I meant. God will just open doors for you. And so that I get to do events outside and stuff. Whatever they give, I put all back and do the event. When I'm done, I go back to God and say, boss, I'm done. Oh, the money is finished. So, and God every single time opens new doors. Every time. Because I've always come to believe that what I receive is not mine. So why would I hold back when something needs to be done? And each time when the people are blessed, I always say when they are blessed, and they even say, God bless you. Imagine all these people saying, God bless you. It really works. And over the years, I've seen God
bless you.
One time I remember where I was seated with a friend of mine and we organized one of the events, and then something had happened. Like there was this cost issue. And one of my artists that was supposed to come, information had delayed. And so by the time they gave us the information, it was late and the ticket was expensive. And normally I have an agency that helps us do it. And then that year, the agency says they are taking the money before they buy the tickets. I said, oh, okay. And then my friend heard the price of the ticket. Why basa? Like he was, I said, but boss, I'm the one doing the thing. Why are you rather feeling this way? He's like, what? I don't understand why you are not worried. I said, but if I worry, it won't solve the issue. In my head, I was just praying and trusting. I said, what should I do? And then immediately God just dropped somebody's name in my, like random. I called, I said, bro, this is the issue I have at hand. Can you help? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, where are you? And then that's it. That's it. He just said, where are you? I said, oh, he said, oh, I'm supposed to get the money from the bank for you, and it was a Friday and I needed the money that Friday. And then I said, but where he said, I save at this bank. I said, oh, don't worry. One of my main team members is a manager of that bank. Don't worry, we are going. So we quickly drove there and then he sorted me out. That's what I mean by God always comes through. Always. So it is God who takes care of us, but He uses people. As
a gospel musician, are you pressured to live the right life all the time? As you be a minister of God all the time? Or you can still sing the song and live your life?
No, you live the message. It's very important that you live. So it shouldn't be anything that feels like pressure on you. Because that means that you probably don't believe in what you speak about. But if you believe in what you preach, then you just live the life. It doesn't mean that you will always be right. Sometimes you will fall, you would rise. But the point is where you strive to please God. It's not the pressure of trying to show people what you do, but striving to please God, striving to know God.
I like that you said sometimes you fall and you rise. Have you fallen before?
Oh, yeah. I'm not superhuman. Oh, no. There have been times where I've had to run back to God and say, I need strength because this thing is becoming difficult.
Like what?
There are temptations in the things you do. Obviously, like sometimes I think that people pretend. Obviously, when I started in the beginning, there were issues where you are confronted with all the power that be when it comes to sin. You are talking about immorality. You are talking about the struggle with money. You are talking about the struggle with pride. Because all of a sudden you are no one, and then all of a sudden things are, and unconsciously, before you realize, if you are not careful and you don't have people guiding you, start changing. You realize how you talk is changing. All of a sudden you think like you are all that. And then there's a temptation of money where people start offering you certain things to do things in a different way. Those things are there. They are part of the struggle. But that's what I mean by...
And then there's the immorality.
There's immorality. Oh, like definitely. I've sinned before.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I'm not one of those people that say, no. But by God's grace, I got strength. I overcame and I stood my ground, and I'm doing what I'm doing by God's grace. So, but it took the fact that God gave me strength. God gave me the ability to be able to keep moving. Many times people pretend like me. I've never. Oh,
that's not you, Joe.
Go and sleep. So the point is this: everyone's struggle is different. There are people who don't have any issue with money. If you put a whole room of money in front of them, they will never fall. But theirs may be women. There are people who never have issues with women. They have no issue with money, but they have serious issues with pride. You cannot correct them. You can't stand them. Like the moment they enter a room, just by their entrance into the room, the pride fills the room. You know that, no. They walk with their nose here. And many times, someone will say you can't blame them because of who they are and what. But until you realize that you are who you are because God has made you so. I always tell people that if you take God away from me, I don't think I'm anything else. My whole life is because God has made it possible for me to walk the path I'm walking. Because the point is, if you trace my life back, I come from nothing. No, I literally come from nothing. So
talking about that.
Look at me too, I thought I was Guy. No, but around that time, that picture was Guy, that time.
Oh, you were Guy? How old were you then?
Oh, this was a while back though. This was probably about 16 years ago.
Okay.
So it was a while back. It was a while back. And like I said, nothing.
The background looks like a Valentine though.
It was some photo studio. Even the guy that I still remember the guy till date, right? Now, some big time pencil guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he draws and stuff. So you people, you took time to go and bring this picture. Who is the producer?
But has your wife seen this picture?
Oh, my wife has seen worse. I have worse pictures. I have worse pictures.
One thing that people always say is that Joe Mettle, yes, God brought you in, but Joe Mettle became Joe Mettle to the world when you mounted that platform. That's the VGMA platform. How did you get on there?
No, but then how did I mount the VGMA?
So that's the thing.
Yeah, so I think that's the deception. So every part of the journey has contributed to this without taking out the VGMA. But you can't take out the little ones that built up to that point, because definitely something that was done actually gave me the opportunity to be nominated at the VGMA. So all those ones counted. Obviously, I won't take away the fact that VGMA also added to what I am today as well, because there are a lot of people who still date around the world that I do music still don't know about the VGMA.
Okay.
Do you understand? So, but it did add something. I mean, after the Artist of the Year, there were people also that started asking questions, who is he? Who is he? The who is he expands the people's curiosity to want to know about you. And so that also helps add up to the people that follow and sort of support what you do. So it's added.
But the who is he? Did it put pressure on you to do better?
Oh, no. You see, I think because of how I was brought up, a lot of things were a blessing to me. I remember very well, when you win Artist of the Year, they always go down, so I have to do something new. I said, no, I don't have to do something new. See, every year we have a plan that we work with based on prayer and waiting on God and everything. So what I said was, if I won Artist of the Year that year, it means that God already knew I was going to win that year. So I'm sure that part of the instructions I had been given, it was considered. the only thing I can do is even do it better. But to change everything would be difficult. So all of a sudden there was industry like attacks, hey, you should do. I said, oh no. But guess what? When I was patient enough to go through, that was the year, by God's grace, I had like one of the biggest songs, the Bononi.
Yeah.
Bononi was recorded after. You know, I even got like a whole I remember that day I was even teasing Arnold. You know, Arnold had some article, he blasted me like intense about the fact that we do friends and family events, and that day when he came to our concert, he didn't even get seat. And it was so choke. So sometimes I wanted to like teasing, but being Arnold, everyone knows. But imagine if all of a sudden I said, oh, because I've won, let me change every plan. Let's start doing new things. Guys, my people, even my team, at a point, some of them were getting irritated. I said, calm down. Guys, calm down. Don't be pushed by this. It's a good thing. It's happened. What it means is that there will be rather a lot of eyes on you. So the same thing we're doing, but let's do it even better than we did before. That's all. And it worked. They said everyone who wins goes down. Did it look like there was any Down syndrome? No.
That's what people say.
But
it actually raised you.
So it depends on, and if you ask me, I think many times people absorb the pressure after the win. So sometimes some people overdo things and then they run out of what to do. Because all of a sudden you are releasing your songs, you're trying to do, you know, and then maybe it's too early in the year. So before the end of the year, you realize that and sometimes when you rush, especially everyone knows, every creative knows, when you rush creatives, sometimes you end up bringing out things that are not well cooked. Is
there a strategy of time to release music? Because you said sometimes you release beginning of the year and by the end of the year it's gone down.
No, that's if you're using like the calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, those ones are there.
Okay.
But then sometimes like I said, there are times I just don't have to release anything, not because of any other reason, but the fact that it's not time for that particular message or song yet.
Are we having any release this year though?
I think so. I just released an album last year, so it's a lot for me. But I'm trying to see if I can still push it a little bit. But there's some song beat I had a few years ago, and I think it's changed. It has changed in my this thing too much. And that thing, sometimes when you keep a song for so long, you lose the vim. And so this year, I think I've cleaned it up a bit.
Okay.
I haven't released like it's a local song. I haven't released a local song now. These days, I've been teasing.
Which one is the local song? But your one is local?
No. It was on an album, but I haven't released like a single traditional local.
Okay.
Oh, your one there is a
pure one.
Thick gun.
So this one is also thick.
It's thick.
Is it gun? Is it gun or it's tree?
It's twee.
Okay.
If you add the H, it waters down the, like, if you say thick, it lightens it.
Thick.
It's thick.
Okay.
It's a mwepi. No.
We are waiting for it. Let's see if God will give you the green light.
God's grace. Oh, this one I have the green light. So I think what is left is I just want to see if I can do like a video and a few other things. But we'll see. Maybe like next month. I think.
What do you do to relax?
I sleep. Sleep is all relaxation. I don't get a lot of it, so when I do get it,
that's all. Okay, so what do you do for fun?
Sometimes I watch movies.
Oh, you love to watch movies. What's your favorite movie?
Action.
Okay.
We'll be there, nanny.
You have a lot of songs.
Okay.
Which is your favorite?
I would say it depends.
Which is your favorite?
It depends. It depends on the timing, the situation, the mood. Like different songs come to me.
Right now, which is your favorite?
I don't know. Wait. I don't know. Like truly. I think I Trust in You probably might be my recent.
I Trust in You.
I Trust in You.
That's the recent favorite.
I think, I'm trusting God for some things. That's what I mean.
Okay.
So because I'm trusting God, at that point is what I pray with.
Joe Mettle, thank you so much for being here today. Super grateful. And, as the ladies were watching, they are wondering what they can also do for their man to select them. So something that you actually saw in your wife. Can you advise the young ladies?
Selection process.
Yes, please. Before you go.
Need that to ask me. See, everybody is different. people see different things in different people. So I won't be able to tell. But all I can say is God is bringing yours. That I can say. Everyone, God has someone that He's prepared for. So I'm sure yours is coming. That's all I can say.
Now, you know that, as you said, you are trusting in God. You definitely have to sing that song a little bit before you go. But I want to say a very big thank you for watching the big interview. There's more coming your way. You don't go anywhere. Stay glued because Joe is about to sing the song. Joe?
There is nothing you cannot do. There's no mountain you cannot move. So I trust in you. You are my God.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you for having me.
Super grateful.
Anytime.
We'll be right back. Do stay